Jesus. Ugh. Where's the music? I don't hear it. Well, welcome to Big Woman Talk Show. This is Dr. Barbara Young and her guest today. Woo, I'm trying to pull them up. We got three ladies on the show today. Oh. I got you getting on the show. Ham?
We are here.
I'm trying to pull my three ladies up. They didn't come up. We're ready. We're there. All right.
Hey, here we go.
Technical difficulties this morning, but I want to welcome Facebook friends and family. You know, we all have a little technical difficulties from time to time. I want to greet all of you out there and thank you for tuning in to the Total Woman Show. Well, this is not Total Woman, this is Woman Talk.
Woman Talk.
Yeah, Woman Talk. We've got Dr. Jewel Diamond Taylor with us today, and we have our new co-host guest, Miss Alexandra Giselle. She's currently an actress, model, and she's performed local theater and commercial work, and she's been a co-host for Viva la Mode and Entertainment Expose. So welcome, Alex, to Woman Talk. We're glad you're here. You bring the millennial perspective, which we so heartily need. So all of my millennials out there, we're waving hello to you and thank you for joining us. Well, let me tell you, my colleague and dear friend sent out a poll a few weeks ago.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on the show. So Jewel, Dr. Jewel, sent out a poll to well over, what was it, 100 women? Almost 100 women?
Oh, it was thousands of women, but I got over 100 responses and I'm still continuing to receive them.
Oh my goodness. That was so exciting. And so the question was, what advice would you give yourself when you were 20, 30 years younger than you would know now? So Jewel, that was some very provocative answers, and I have some of the answers that came in. So out of all of this, what did you surmise were the top issues that women stated that they wish they had told themselves?
Well, my demographics, of course, were women more in my range, more mature women.
Okay.
So most of them were having this hindsight and realizing two things. I wish I had found my voice. I wish I had spoken up more, and I wish I'd handled my money differently. It wasn't so much about relationships. It was realizing that having confidence in yourself and having a financial grounding gives you some self-esteem, which is what I focus on a lot when I'm coaching and ministering to women, is getting that self-esteem. So many of them just talked about, wow, I wish I had spoken up. I wish I didn't care about what other people thought. I wish I had the courage to speak up. And I wish I'd invested my money in Apple and Amazon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I do know, a lot of us were not exposed to financial literacy classes so that we would know how to invest.
And I'm in that number. So I really relate to those regrets.
Yes. So Alex, you sort of took a little bit of a poll from the millennials. And what did you discover was some of their number one issues that they want to talk about?
Well, one of the things that millennials really struggle with right now is social media really being a dilemma and lowering self-esteem, the constant comparing of yourself against others, and always seeking validation.
Yes.
So there's just the dilemma with online dating as well and love. Millennials don't make as much money as the previous generations. Just in 2000, individuals 25 to 34 were making $37,000 per year, and that's a $4,000 decrease just in the 20 years that millennials are making, and as far as money.
Well,
And debt is also a concern. So many millennials were so educated. 60% of millennials are educated, which is more than previous generations. But they're
seems like we're having a little bit
dealing
of
with
difficulties
student
with
debt
hearing you.
and
Uh,
student loans.
Giselle, we're having some technical difficulties in hearing you. Jewel, can you hear her clearly?
Yeah, it is dragging a bit, but what I was understanding was the
So
challenge of
it's just unfortunate that we were told the myth, go to school.
Okay, Jewel.
yeah, you know what I'm hearing and what I think
But
is across the board
unfortunately,
is
the degree has caused them to be financially fragile.
yeah, there's a delay in her voice.
Right.
And what we want our audience to hear is that no matter the age, we have to learn how to deal
Okay.
with the myths that we bought into, that if we did such and such, that it was going to give us a certain reward. And then also dealing with the mistakes that we took in life.
Giselle. I know am. Okay. Well, what I'd like to do, Jewel, is to sort of expound on, and what she has said is a number of issues that we know that
One of the
millennials.
issues primarily is that student debt is a huge issue with millennials,
Mm-hmm.
and we were told the myth that we would be able to get a degree.
Yeah, so there's that word myths, busting the bubble, the misconceptions that we bought into, that if we get this degree, if we're a certain size, if we live in a certain zip code, if we have 2.2 children, if we get married at a certain age, if we have so much money, that is what validates us. And I think that for women that are more seasoned, they come into the realization that they bought into myths, and they compromise their happiness and their purpose.
Yes.
So I really feel for the millennials, because I was there at that time too, and that age when you think, if I follow the template, that I'm going to get exactly what I was told I was going to receive. And so then women in my generation, we're dealing with the expectations that were not met. And how do we overcome that and become resilient and get another plan that is aligned with our core values and not what society says?
Right, right. Well, one of the things that I had a sort of a prior conversation with Alejandra with some of the expectations that millennials had, that if we go to school, get our degree,
Right.
then we get a good job. And they're not finding that that's happening. But since I was in education for almost 40 some years, I remember when the growing proliferation of students that were coming into college, and they were picking majors, because at the time, and this is about 2006, 2008, we were looking at people who are having more stress in their lives, a lot of psychological issues,
Yeah.
drug abuse, suicidal, people who had, and even suicides. And so what happened is a majority of the millennials then decided to go into, and I can tell you by truth, because I was on the chancellor's office with all 23 campuses, and we were looking at a proliferation of students in psychology, sociology, social work.
Mhm.
And we were absolutely inundated. In fact, they had an overflow, so they had secondary criteria for people to even enter into a master's to get a psychology degree. So what happens is they get these degrees, we get out, society has changed. There are not a lot of jobs and good paying jobs, I should say that, for entry level people who are going into social work or some of the fields. And so the disappointment there, and then student loan debt, which they've incurred. So I understand the issues, but I also, because you and I both are seasoned women, we deal with not the problems, but the solutions.
Yes.
Because I'm very solution oriented rather than just dealing with the problem. So one of the things that I'm sharing with some of the millennials who might be out there listening, that you can look at other options. You may have a master's, even a BA. What other kinds of certifications or any other kinds of degrees that you can supplement online now, since we have all this time, to look at other options that will get you into a job? And because right now there is a need and people are still hiring. And so I said, there are alternatives to look at a secondary degree. And I do have an example. I may have her come on the show, who got an MBA from Harvard, did not get a job, and she got a teaching credential, got more certifications, and now she's making $100,000 a year working with teachers. It's really interesting, an MBA, but translated that into something that she now really enjoys. So that
And I
was
think,
along with
it's
the solution.
my point of view is helping women to become more self-aware.
Absolutely.
When you're looking outside of yourself for direction and purpose, you're going to find yourself lost and disappointed. But what I want to help others is to become more aware and ask yourself, what are my core values? What are my interests? And are we guiding women to be more entrepreneurial? Are we guiding women in, as you said, I know when I was going to college, everybody was going to social studies and, as you said, social work. But women were not guided towards technology and math and science, and
Right.
that's where we need them.
Right.
So I would ask women, sit down and do those self-assessments and ask yourself, now what interests me? What grabs my attention? What are my core values? Is it humanity? Is it the environment? Is it the community? Is it animals? Because if you can ask yourself these hard questions
Yes.
and be honest with yourself, then you can make choices that will lead you towards happiness, lead you towards fulfillment, or as I remember hearing someone say, full thrillment. I mean, I went through several jobs before I finally said, you know what? I don't want to work for somebody else. Yes, I've got education. Yes, I know how to make money, but do I know how to make meaning and purpose? So I understand the millennials that, yeah, they want to follow the path that's put in front of them, but then they get to a crossroad and they realize, wait a minute,
Yes.
I may be making money, but I'm not happy, or I'm happy, but I'm not making money. So there comes a point where we need to do some self-assessment and have coaches in your life and mentors in your life and and this pandemic is an opportunity for many people to sit and reevaluate their lives.
It really is. And one of the things that came to me this morning that I learned many years ago, you need to take 100% responsibility for your life. You only have one life. And to take 100% responsibility to live your life, you know, the one person responsible for the quality of your life, it's you. That person is you. And so for women out there, I can just start preaching, because we have got to accept the fact, yes, there are a lot of things that are falling on our shoulders, whether we're a diverse group of women, we are. And there are a lot of things falling on our shoulders. Maybe some of the men are lagging behind. Maybe we don't have a man in our lives. And we have to find sustainable efforts to keep us going as individuals. And who knows, the quality of life that you want, you can have. And I thought, you either create what happens to you or you allow it. You create or you allow everything that happens to you. So it's now time, ladies, I'm telling you, to take a stand, because look at your actions or your inactions that led you to where you are today. So it's almost like taking inventory. We know there are a lot of issues, and we're going to talk about them and give you, Jewel and I, because we're veteran and we got our Alejandra here, but that we have been given a gift, every one of us. Jewel, you and I can preach this sermon. We have the gift of purpose in our lives. And to make that gift, to me, if you're not using it, you have an illegitimate existence on this earth, because God created us to come and to fulfill the purpose that he's given us in our hearts. And so we have gotten so, I think, surrounded with so many of the issues, so many of the pain, so many things that are, holding us back. It's time to take an inventory. What do you think, Jewel?
Well, there's a reality. There's
Yeah.
a reality that women are dealing with. The younger women on the spectrum, the pool is smaller for them for dating and marriage. So they're finding out, I've got to make my own money, buy my own house, get my own credit straight. And then you have women on the other spectrum who are outliving their husbands.
Yes.
They have an empty nest. They still want to be able to generate income. They don't want to be stuck in a fixed income with Social Security. So women have this dilemma on either end of the spectrum. How do I become self-sufficient, but not to the point that I discourage, having a companion in my life? And that's what I hear a lot of women saying is like, okay, well, I've got money, but I don't have a man. Or, I've got the education, but the dating has changed. And that could be for mature women too. And especially with the pandemic, how do you date when everybody's behind a mask and you can't go out to restaurants? So I imagine that's an issue for our millennials dealing with dating and relationships. Money isn't everything. Oh, I love money, but it's not everything. And there are women who want to have sweet companionship in their lives, and they're struggling with it. It doesn't matter on what end of the spectrum they're in. There's this question of, how do I get some balance? And I know that balance is a myth too, but I think that this is a question that keeps coming up between men, money, and I say macaroni and cheese. That means weight issues, health issues. Those are the 3 M's: men, money, and macaroni and cheese.
Well, you hit it right on the head, because I know that there are a lot of people, young women particularly. How do we do with this dating system and well, I have some answers, but I'm not going to give them out this week. You got to tune in next week, because I've got some really succinct, well thought out answers about this whole social media dating and social dating. So, but you have,
all right,
and I'll talk about that. But one of the things that's on my heart is, and I get back to it, is that if you don't have a man, if you don't have a job, but you know what, you've got you, and you've got God on your side. And so if we start looking up instead of looking out, we'll find some answers, because you truly, truly, I believe this in my heart, and I know Jewel, you're with me on this, that there is a purpose for your life. Alex, we may not be able to see it right now, but there is a purpose. And it's like maybe we're having to get inwardly and not maybe think so much about outward, connecting with people, but you want to connect with the right people. You want to hang around with people who are going places, who are doing things. And because what you get in a rut, and I call them anchors and motors. You got anchors that will just drag you down. They are negative, they have nothing to say.
Yes.
And you're trying to say, well, I got an idea. Oh, girl, I don't know why you want to do that. That's crazy. And so, but you need people who are going to rev you up, who are going to support you, who are going to be there as your cheerleaders. I would not be where I am today if I did not have a couple of women, there were only a couple out of 5 of my good friends, who said, Barbara, they cheered me on. At 36, you're going to go back and get a BA. I went to school for 7 years, at 36 to get a BA and a master's. Went back to get a doctorate at 49. 5 of my friends, 4 of whom had doctorates, said, why are you going back to get a doctorate at your age? And that's a lot of money you're going to be spending. You already have a good job. So what does you want to do? See what I'm saying?
Yes.
You need people who support you. Barbara, and so they asked me, why are you going at this age? I said, I'm going to fulfill my destiny. Not knowing at age 62 that PhD would serve me well when I'm standing in front of 35 world leaders for a 3-day retreat on leadership, because your gift will make room for you. But you got to
Yes.
know how to enter the room when you get there. Because you
I
got to.
wonder if we could, I wonder if Alejandra's voice can come through now. Can you hear
Okay,
us? Are you able to, can you speak again
Alondra,
and try?
Alex, can you hear us now? Can you speak now? Hello? I
I would
unmute.
love to.
Okay. Can you hear us now? It's still a lag.
Well, yeah, that's too bad.
It's
I'm
still
sure
a
she,
lag. Yes, it's
do
still
you
a
know
lag.
sign language? Oh boy.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We got to work that out.
Yes.
Um, um, but I did find something. Uniqua,
I wonder if she could put something in the chat. Can you put something in the
I am
chat?
Uniqua Harden. She said a lot of millennials are not looking for long-term relationships as opposed to years ago. So maybe we have this myth out there that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Uniqua, I'm very glad that you brought that up. Also, you talk about past traumas hinder successful relationships in some
Oh
cases.
yes. Oh
And
yes.
all right, my
Yes.
solution: clean
Yes.
up your messes and your incompletes. Because unless you do, and I had to experience this myself, 2 divorces, clean up your messes and incompletes. I don't care how you name it. In a relationship, there's fault on both sides. I know a lot of times people say, well, he was this, he was that,
Mm-hmm.
but you were this and you were that too. Because I was young and I was cursing and, doing all kinds of stuff, as in retaliation. So cleaning up your messes, your incompletes, because when you complete your past, you bring into a future. So it's got to be, I know that
Yes, yes.
battery, but you have to face it and forgive and move on.
That is an issue for our millennials.
You
Oh good. I could hear her.
Okay, good. That is one of the issues. I know past traumas can, but you got to get over them, because there are traumas not only in relationships, there are traumas that happen with mothers and aunts and uncles, grandmothers, and we carry that stuff. We're in our 60s and we're still talking about what grandma did.
And I think it's easy for us to say, just get over it. And I know that we want to give solutions and we want to give our testimonies and we want to share our stories of how we got over it. It's not just a simple get over it. Trauma is very powerful and it creates an implicit memory in our subconscious. It's just like I always use the example. I got burned really bad, cooking years ago, and I would not cook chicken because I got burned cooking chicken. That was illogical. But we have to go back and say, wait a minute, where did I make an illogical decision based on pain? And begin to reframe that and say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense anymore. Yes, I was cheated on, or yes, I was lied to, or yes, there were secrets. But that's the past. And
Yes.
so
I
that's the
wanted
work
to
that needs to
comment
be done.
on the social dating.
You wanted to comment on what?
Boy, this technology. Alexandra, I wonder if you could type in if you could chat, if you could type something in the chat, your question or comment, that we could read it. And I'm sure we'll work through this in the future, but right now,
We'll work through this, because right now this
yeah.
is a bit disappointing. But I do want to just, we have talked about answering some of your questions, good advice,
Yeah.
Joy, good advice, great advice about, getting rid of these old messages, because
Yes.
they'll keep coming back to haunt you and prevent you from ever having a successful relationship, not only with the person or a man, but with yourself. You want to have a
Absolutely.
relationship with yourself. And that monkey chatter that goes on in your head, all this negative stuff, toxic stuff, it has to go out. I mean, really. And so one of the
And
things,
I think we have to overcome the stigma of shame. A lot of people don't want to share whether they were complicit in the pain or not. We have to overcome the stigma and the shame and be willing to sit down and talk with somebody and work through those issues. And I
Absolutely.
call it shaking the family tree. When you shake that family tree, all type of secrets and pain and
Out.
dysfunction fall out the tree, and
So-
you realize, oh, no wonder I'm acting like this. No wonder I believe this. So it takes some work. And I would encourage our younger ladies to don't fall into the trap that many of my seasoned sisters, just like, we're going to keep it in the family. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to keep these secrets. We pray that you're able to break those strongholds and seek support and talk it through and begin to rethink it, redeem yourself, redeem your past, and know that you are a child of God and know that you are human. We have all made choices we wish we didn't make.
out.
We all have people in our lives that probably trying to stomp on our dreams. And I remember the song that says, everybody plays a fool sometimes, and sometimes you get played, and you're
That-
like, my God. But don't let that make you bitter, because there's love out there for you. There's happiness out there for you. But if you've been so traumatized by
yeah.
betrayal, that is a trap.
But I can say from personal experience, when I emptied out, and it takes time,
Yeah, takes
and,
time.
and completed that journey of forgetting the past and forgiving. Took me 3 weeks of crying with my face on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
crying and sobbing, but letting all the pain and the hurt, all the family traumas, all the traumas I've gone
Yeah,
through.
yeah,
At 36, I carried this around. And so I just want to encourage any woman out there, whatever you're going through, I mean, you've got to let it go. You'll become this beautiful butterfly. I mean, we go through a lot of caterpillar pus, and I'm telling you, it's ugly, it's uncomfortable. But let me tell you, when you go through that and you let go, you come out and emerge this beautiful butterfly. And so
absolutely.
I know. And Jewel, you have helped Marie. She said helped her so much, and I wanted you to see that.
Oh, great, Maria. Is that Maria? Thank you, Maria, for tuning in today.
Yes, thank you, Maria, and thank you for those comments. But I do want to. We wanted to give some takeaways. And Jewel, you have a couple that you want to share, and I'll share a couple I want to share, just for takeaways for the ladies today, because we have a lot more to share, a lot more to go,
Yeah.
and we will bring Alejandra back again to next Tuesday,
Wonderful.
next Thursday. I got Tuesday shows too, so Thursday we'll be on next Thursday.
You just got so much going on.
Well,
You're a multifaceted
I,
jewel. You've
I
got so
love it.
many things
I know
going
you
on.
got things going on too, Jewel. You got things going on too. You're not the only one. Yep, yep. So, any last minute words for?
Well, my last minute words are I like to teach in images and visuals. And so I like to tell my clients when I'm working with them, don't continue going to the cemetery of your regrets. Don't continue to go to the museum of your disappointments. Don't continue to do that PowerPoint of your pain, because as you continue to watch that movie again and again of what he did, what she said, what happened to you, you are reinforcing it. And so I want to encourage someone that's watching today to seek out a safe place to speak your truth and to share your story, and realize that it is a story now. It is in the past. And what you want to do is to begin to work on your future by being present in this moment. Well, who are you now? What do you want now? Who is populating your life now? I look in your the back of you, Barbara, and I see all of your books, and there's books behind me. What books are in your library? Uh, who are you talking to every day? Because all of these things are influencing you to either dream small or dream big, either to walk around as a victim or walk around victorious. I would say to you that is watching, if you are allowing the trauma to trap you, know that you don't have to stay there. It doesn't have to be your identity. And I realize that sometimes people get so locked into being a victim, they think that's who they are, and they think they don't deserve to have love or success. And I want to tell you today, you deserve to have love. You deserve to have respect. You deserve to have success. You deserve to have peace. But you've got to get in the driver's seat, and you've got to start making those steps towards the peace that you can have. And God is going to be with you, and God is going to order your steps. But
Yes.
you got to say, God, help me. But then you got to have the courage to follow the steps that God is ordering you to take.
Well, I want to thank you for that because, principles work. I tell people the takeaways that you really need to know. It's the principles work if you work the principles.
Yeah.
So some of the things that she has shared are great principles for you to know. And my principle takeaway is self-knowledge is the first step to your success because you need to know who you are. You need to know who you're not. You need to do exercises and take a pencil and paper. This is your homework assignment and write down all the things that you like about you, all the things that you don't like about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'll find there are more things that you like about you than the things that you don't like. But you need to know who you are. You need to know what is my passion? What am I really, really excited about? What excites me? There's got to be something that excites you. I know it is. And maybe you dared not ever talk about it or even try it. And remember, you have an enemy that wants to keep you captive and keeps you locked up to your past. Don't let it happen to you. Remember, take 100% responsibility for
That's
your
right.
life. When I realized that, and I use a lot of me in this because I've lived it, take 100% responsibility. When I realized that, I'm responsible for mine. I only have one. I don't get a second chance that I know about. This is it. And I'm going to live
Not a dress rehearsal.
life. Jules looking good, living her best life. And you know what? I'm 82, slipping into 83, but I got news for you, baby.
Woo!
Inside, I'm 60. I think I'm like 42. I'm 40. So anyway, I want to
It's all about the attitude, huh?
really, and I really want to thank all of you for joining us today. Sherry, exactly. You said that's right, Joy. Thank you very much for your feedback. Exactly something many women don't understand. Thank you guys. We
I
appreciate
think I see somebody, Shanice.
Sherry Davis. So thank you so much for joining us today. And remember, topics, subjects that you want Jewel or myself or Alex to share, please send us an email. I'm at info@transformationforsuccess.com. I'll have it on the crawl space next week. And then Jewel is, I like it, jewelmotivates@gmail.com.
Yes.
And then Alex is alex.giselle, Giselle, @gmail.com. And so you can ask her questions if you'd like. And we'd love to hear from you. Any suggestions to make the show even better? We'd love that too. So anyway, we want to thank you. We want you to have a really blessed week and remember some of the principles we talked about because look, they'll work for you if you work the principles. You know what, ladies? Let's keep talking because the conversation is always better here at Woman. So we're going to say goodbye to you guys. It's time to say goodbye. I hate to say it, but it is time.
Thank you.
Goodbye. And thank you for tuning in today. We'll have Alexandra back on next week for sure, speaking live.